Hello, everyone. Today we're taking a look at food magic and how to incorporate your magical practice into the food that you eat. So, this is Taliesin McKnight. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we're going to break this down. I hope everyone's having a great day. Food. This is something that we have all the time. It's something so easy to incorporate into your occult practice. It could be a cup of coffee in the morning. And you add some ingredients to the coffee, like a little nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon for prosperity and abundance. Infuse it with your intentions and consume it. So we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna do a little bit of reading of Agrippa as well. So, food magic. And this is about making the mundane divine. We're making the mundane divine. So, it's very powerful. The ancients did not divide and section off the spiritual from the material in the way that we tend to do in our society today. The further you go back in time, the more that everyday life was magical and spiritual. Even going to work, you would have the angel or the saint or the divinity of your profession. So every aspect of life can be infused with magic, from the clothing that you wear, the colors of the clothing that you wear, to the foods that you eat. And really there's three aspects of life that most of us tend to do anyways as just part of our normal day. So we have three main things. We have food magic, incorporating our foods, eating. We're consuming the life force. Think of the ingredients that we use. If you use lemons for cleansing and purification, why can't you incorporate that into foods that you consume for the same purpose of purification? If you blow cinnamon in your door to bring in prosperity, why can't you infuse cinnamon and then consume it? So this could be seen as a type of daily Eucharist of intention. Daily Eucharist. So we have food magic, sex magic, and sleep magic. Right? So these are three very powerful things. Foods. Taking foods and imbuing them with a certain intent and consuming them as a way to bring certain things into your life. Sex. Using sex magic as a way to bring things in. Sleep. Very powerful. Putting the sigil of a spirit or divinity and placing it under your pillow and having a communication. Sleep temples go back very ancient times. We have sleep temples in Egypt and Greece. So dreams, sleep, food, and sex are all three things that you can incorporate into your occult practice. So, think of it. A lot of people, when they first hear about food magic, it's a little surprising, but it shouldn't be. If you use rosemary in a spell, or if you use cinnamon or something like that, nutmeg in a spell, then it can be infused into the foods that you consume. And think of all the different things that you can do with that. Sigils can be cut into the food. You can put sigils. You can have sigil cookies, sigil cakes. You can cut different sigils into foods that you're going to consume. And there are different sources of power. We have power, first of all, that comes from ourselves, personal power. You could say the powers of your own energy field, that you place intentions and then consume them. And you also have the powers that are resident in different plants, different fruits, nuts. Some people are staunch vegetarians and some people consume meat. All of these things have certain properties that could be awakened. And I like to think of it as a union, okay? Sex magic is a union, and food magic is a union. So you have two things. You have your own personal energy or power, and then you have the power that is resident in a piece of fruit or a vegetable or something that you're working with, spices. These have powers within them. And through the wedding of personal intent and the ingredients, we help to awaken the latent powers to life that lie within it. Cinnamon is powerful in itself, right? Cinnamon. But by imbuing it with your intention, you're not just putting your intentions in the cinnamon, you're imbuing it with your intention, wakens its latent properties to life. You're awakening it to life. So it's a combination of your own energy and intentions and the foods that you consume. And here in a minute, I'll go into how it can be empowered through astrological magic, through the power of the four elements, through the power of different divinities, or just intention. So think of all of the things that you can do with this. You can put sigils in your food. You use the four elements in your cooking. If you're boiling water, there's the element of water. The steam that's rising is the element of air. Heat is the element of fire. And the solids is the element of earth. And if you think of a bowl or a cup or a pot, this just like a cauldron, similar. A pot or a cup or a bowl could be seen as the womb of the Great Mother. So a pot, cup, or bowl is like the womb of the Great Mother. So you're bringing into manifestation. If you look at spoons and forks and knives, these things could be seen as active. Or you could even break those down. A spoon is really a bowl with a handle. A fork pierces into things. So you can see that active quality to them. So, and food magic is really nothing new. You could see certain foods eaten for prosperity or abundance or aphrodisiacs. And then you have things like medicines or potions, things like that, way back in ancient times. So, food magic, sex magic, and sleep magic are three things that you can incorporate magic into your everyday life. Let's just think of pies and the possibility with pies. Apple pie could bring in love. Blueberry pie could bring in protection. Lemon pie, lemon meringue pie could be for cleansing. Pecan pie for prosperity. Peach pie for love or health. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with this type of magic. Chocolate is often seen as an aphrodisiac. Any kind of chocolate or cacao powder, anything like that, could be seen as a way to bring in love into your life. So, as an example, you can just take your morning cup of coffee or tea. Nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. These are things that, and really those three together make allspice. These three things are associated with prosperity. So infuse with your morning cup of coffee. You can set it upon a sigil. You can put your intentions into, and again, placing your intentions. It's not just your energy. You're waking its own energy to life. Put your intentions into some nutmeg or some cinnamon and put just a little bit in your coffee in the morning and drink that knowing that you're bringing it in. So, very powerful. And there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. You could do this with a deity, or you can do this with angels, deities, spirits, asking the power to infuse the food, help infuse it with a certain power to bring abundance or blessings or protection, whatever you're doing, and then leave a little bit of it as an offering. So there are all kinds of things that you can do with this. So, first of all, let's do a little bit of reading of Agrippa. By the way, if you look at Book 1, chapters 23 through 29, you see all the correspondences of the different planets. And it talks about the tastes or the flavors of different planets. For example, with Mars, spicy flavors are associated with Mars. And also things like onions and garlic. And by the way, you don't have to have every ingredient in your food to represent your intention. It could be one or two ingredients out of the whole thing that you awaken to a certain intention and put it in there. And the rest of it is just for nourishment. So I think this is one thing that prevents a lot of people from incorporating food magic, is that they're worried about every single ingredient matching their intention. You should enjoy your food, so you can just have everything else just being just regular food, but add one or two ingredients that you infuse with your intentions. And again, when you infuse with your intentions, it's a union, a conjunction, a wedding of two things, that it's your power too, but it wakens it to life. So, we're going to read a little bit of Agrippa. Oops, wrong part. Let's see here. First of all, if you go to the 3 books of occult philosophy, Book 1, chapter 66, and it's talking about the passions of the mind, the passions being a powerful force. So, it says here, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit, it says, for our mind doth affect diverse things by faith. So this is Agrippa talking about the importance of faith and believing in your working. For our mind doth affect diverse things by faith, which is a firm adhesion, a fixed intention, and a vehement application of the worker or receiver to him that cooperates in anything, and gives power to the work which we intend to do. So that there is made, as it were, in us the image of the virtue to be received, and the thing to be done in us, or by us. We must therefore, in every work and application of things, affect, here with an A means have a passion, affect vehemently, imagine, hope, and believe strongly. So Agrippa's saying in any kind of working, you need to have emotional energy, you need to imagine, you need to hope, and believe strongly. So this is Cornelius Agrippa in the 16th century. So we therefore in every work and application of things, feel vehemently, imagine, hope, and believe strongly, for that will be a great help. And it is verified amongst physicians that a strong belief and an undoubted hope and love toward the physician and medicine conduce much to health, yea, more sometimes than the medicine itself. For the same that the efficacy and virtue of the medicine works, the same doth the strong imagination of the physician work, being able to change the qualities of the body of the sick, especially when the patient places much confidence in the physician, by that means disposing himself for the receiving of the virtue of the physician and physic. And this is from the 16th century, but he's talking about placebo. I'm not saying that's all magic is, not at all. But Cornelius Agrippa is talking about the importance of belief in magic. Therefore, he that works in magic must be of a constant belief, be credulous, again meaning believing, and not at all doubt of obtaining the effect. And the Picatrix says the same thing, the importance of believing in what you're doing, seeing it is already done. For as a firm and strong belief doth work wonderful things, although it be in false work, so distrust and doubting doth dissipate, and break the virtue of the mind of the worker. So not believing or doubting is really just getting rid of the work that you're doing. So when you do a spell, and again, this is Cornelius Agrippa, 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 1, Chapter 66. Agrippa's saying that if you do a spell and then you wonder, did it work? I wonder if it worked. You're already getting rid of your results. You begin the working knowing that it is done. It is already so. And then do the spell. Once it's done, have faith. Know that it is done. So therefore, he that works in magic must be of a constant belief, be credulous, and not at all doubt of obtaining the effect. For as a firm and strong belief doth work wonderful things, although it be in false works, so distrust and doubting doth dissipate and break the virtue of the mind of the worker, which is the medium between both extremes, whence it happens that he is frustrated of the desired influence of the superiors, which could not be joined and united to our labors without a firm and solid virtue of our mind. So first of all, Agrippa is saying that there's great importance in belief. And now I'm going to skip to chapter... I'm going to skip ahead to Cornelius Agrippa. Dang it, where was I? Here we go. So if you go to chapter, the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 1, Chapter 73, skipping forward a little bit. And therefore magicians command that in every work there be imprecations. Imprecations are speaking. And inscriptions made by which the operator may express his feeling, that if he gather an herb or a stone, he declare for what use he doth it. If he make a picture, he say and write what end he makes it. So basically, it's important to believe in this, and it's a great exercise of learning to believe in your workings, doing this food magic stuff. So basically, you take your ingredients that represents your purpose, and you infuse it with your intent. Once again, it's not just your intent and energy. By placing it in the cinnamon or nutmeg or whatever, you're also waking its innate power to life. So it's a wedding, a union of the two things. And like I said, food magic is very powerful. It could be thought of as a daily Eucharist of intent. You're making the mundane divine. So basically, I mean, you have apple pie for love, blueberry pie for protection, lemon pie for purification, pecan for money. You know, just thinking of pies and things. You can take your coffee and infuse a little nutmeg and cinnamon with prosperity and abundance and put that in your coffee. stirring clockwise, speaking your intention. If you're drawing away or trying to get rid of, counterclockwise. If you're trying to bring in, stir your coffee clockwise while speaking your intent, and then drink the coffee. You're waking its innate powers to life, and you're partaking of this, bringing things into yourself. If you believe that we are receiving life force, receiving these different powers, and of course this all can go back as well to Marsilio Ficino and his 3 books of life. So, how do you work this? How do you work this? There's so many things you can do. You can carve sigils in your food. You can carve sigils. You can call on deities to infuse your food. You could take spices and infuse them with, you can capture certain astrological forces into a spice or something that you can then use as you need to. You don't have to use astrological timing or things like that, because you can also you could also call upon the powers of the elements, the powers of the deities, and you could even empower just with the 4 elements. So how do you do this? First of all, I think it's good to light a candle, the color that represents your intention. As the candle burns down, you're releasing energy, and also it helps you to focus on your purpose. So it's important to focus on your goal as you're cooking or heating the food, and to see it already manifest, and to connect with the energy of whatever you're consuming. And to really be mindful as you consume whatever you're eating, to really be mindful. So to eat mindfully. Now, Agrippa in his correspondences talks about all kinds of correspondences of the different planets. This can be planetary magic, or it could be with a planetary archangel. You can do it with different gods or goddesses if you come from a polytheistic background, or you can just infuse with the 4 elements. Let's talk about buns of prosperity, y'all. Get some buns of prosperity. You take some buns and you sprinkle it with just touch with a dab of water. By the powers of water, I bring prosperity into my life. You could sense it. By the powers of air, I bring prosperity. Sprinkle a little salt. By the powers of earth, prosperity comes to me. So you awaken it with the 4 elements. And I awaken you unto life to bring to me prosperity. Believe in the working and consume it, and focus on this coming into your life. So this is something to experiment with. So we have foods that can be used for magic. We have dreams and sleep. And we have, food magic, sex magic, and sleep magic. So these are ways that you can incorporate magic into your everyday life. So, yeah, there are all kinds of things you can do. You can have sugar cookies, sigil cookies, sigil cakes. You can cut sigils. You can cut different shapes. You can use colors, different ingredients. There's so many things you can do to bring food into your magic. A lot of us are familiar with things like sweetening jars and or sweetening magic, right? Sugar spells, things like that. Well, all different aspects of this could be incorporated into your life. Recently, I made a video about the power of the magical gaze. Speaking, putting your intention into a spoken word and speaking the word, speaking and looking, eating, sleeping, all of these things can be infused with magic. And bit by bit, every aspect of your life is representing, is moving towards the way that you want to manifest in your life, right? So food magic. You don't have to just cook it. You can get store-bought and heat it. I wouldn't use a microwave, but use an oven or whatever. That's just me. And light a candle representing your purpose is one way to do it. And speaking over the food, you're activating it, right? You're awakening the innate powers within it. And there's a lot of lore around different types of foods. The 3 books of occult philosophy is full of this stuff. You know, the 3 books of occult philosophy have so many things within it that you can use. For example, for Mars, you have onions, garlic, leeks, mustard. All of these things are associated with Mars. Anything spicy, anything that has mint, could be used for prosperity and abundance. Mints are associated with Jupiter. You could say that anything sweet can be used for love. Anything spicy for protection. Anything minty for prosperity and abundance. Anything citrusy for cleansing and purification. So there's so many things. If you already eat every day, I assume you eat every day, right? Just take a moment to bless and infuse your food because it's already there to give you energy and life force. Imbue it with an intention. Bring your intentions into the foods that you consume. And this is how you can do food magic. So, like I said, coffee. You could take a little nutmeg and cinnamon and infuse it, call upon it to bring prosperity into your life. You're awakening those innate powers. Put a little bit in your coffee and stir it clockwise while you speak your intentions for good luck or abundance and drink your coffee. You can take a glass of water and set it upon a sigil and see the powers of the sigil going into the water and consume it. So there are a lot of different things that you can do with food magic. So anyways, that's, I guess that's it for today. But yeah, I think I'm going to do like different recipes and stuff maybe and give some like very concrete examples. But your morning coffee or tea, is, if you think about all the herbs and spices that you use that are also used in magic, you can incorporate this into the foods that you can consume. Like I said, it's a Eucharist of intent. You're imbuing the foods that you eat with intention. You're already consuming things that are from the earth that have certain properties, so you might as well bring this into your life. This is found in Agrippa with these correspondences, and also Marsilio Ficino in his 3 books of life talks about this type of thing. Wearing certain colors that represent your purpose. Consuming food, going to sleep, all of these things can help bring a little bit more magic into your life. So anyway, so that's it for today. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all.